Okay, so this video is just checking in on my predictions for the LEC Winter Group Stage. If you haven't seen that video yet, just go ahead and click the video card on the top right. It will just link you to the prediction video I made, and let's just get right into it. In the first match of Group A of Vitality versus Heretics, I thought Vitality would easily win 2-0 just because the top side of Bow, Photon, and Perks were just way better than Heretics. But it turns out to be 2-1 just because of the bot lane of Vitality just being like dirty inters. In the first game of Vitality versus Heretics, in draft phase, Vitality definitely won. Mersa can't play anything besides engage supports. If it's not an engage support or Heimerdinger, he just looks bad at it. Throughout the game, you can see that Mersa just keeps getting caught and dying and just giving free kills to Vitality. There's an early skirmish in the game where Bo and Perks win a 2v3 versus Yankos, Ruby, and Mersa. And this pretty much gets Bo ahead in the game and just kind of just takes over from there. In game 2, I would say Heretics won draft just because they have an easier team comp to execute versus Vitality. And definitely in this game you can see how bad the draft played out for Vitality. If you pick Caitlyn and Lux, you're supposed to expect the early game like bot priority. So Wukong or Bo can just get ahead and just take dragons and stuff. But for some reason, Kaiser and Neon decide to walk up, both burn their Sums level 1 and die. And that just completely ruins the game. Also, since Perks picks Kassadin, he doesn't get any priority in mid lane because Kassadin isn't a champion until 16, so Bo can't do anything this game. Third game was an absolute clown fiesta. I think the draft was actually pretty even for both teams, but obviously Mersa can't play anything besides engage support. Both teams just kept picking bad fights around objectives, and the game losing play was pretty much just Yankos full sending it on Perks when his team couldn't follow up. And in the end, Heretics just gets cheesed by Kindred Ultimate. In the second match of Group A, we have Koi versus SK. I thought it was going to be a close series and Koi winning with 2-1, but that wasn't the case and Koi just hard stomped SK with a 2-0. I predicted a 2-1 just because SK looked really good in the regular season and Executing DOS looked like a top LEC bot duo, and I thought Certus was okay and I thought he could have popped off against Larson, and the complete opposite happened. Both games in this series kind of played out the same. What happened in this series was pretty much just mid-jungle difference, like Larson and Malrang just absolutely destroy Certus and Marcoon. And the bot lane of Koi, Comp and Trimmy decided to show up and show why they're a top LEC duo. In the winners match of Group A, it was Vitality versus Koi, which I predicted, and I predicted Vitality would winning 2-1 because Koi's bot lane regular season wasn't very good, and I thought Vitality's top side of Photon, Bow, and Perks would just carry a game, but in reality, it was an easy 2-0 for Koi. Game 1, Koi won just because of bot difference. At level 1, somehow Sivir and Lulu get outpushed by Zeri and Soraka, and then they just keep getting chunked and just lose lane. By 8 minutes, bot lane's pretty much over. Koi's bot lane of Zeri and Soraka are ahead 1.5k gold. With Comp getting so much gold early on in the game, it was literally impossible for Vitality to win the team fight just because Comp did so much damage, and with Soraka in the back pocket, it was impossible to kill anybody. Game 2 of this series was an immediate disaster for Vitality, and they immediately lose the game at minute 2. The level 1 fight bot lane was so bad. Kaiser throws hook, but Comp puts up a spell shield. And for some reason, like Kaiser decides to flash in for the stun, and Xayah is a terrible level 1 champion because she doesn't have any abilities. She only has her attack speed buff, and that's not enough to kill. And then almost immediately after this play, Bo decides to come bot lane for a gank because Sivir doesn't have flash or heal anymore. But then like Malrang matches the gank and immediately just like the gank does not work out, and the Vitality just lose after this one play. My group 3 predictions were pretty good. In the first match of Mad versus Astralis, I thought Mad Lions would win 2-1 versus Astralis, and that did happen. I predicted a 2-1 just because I thought Mad Lions would get too aggressive and throw a game, and I guess in game 2, they were too aggressive, but they weren't really in the driver's seat. In the first game of Mad versus Astralis, I would honestly say this game was pretty much even until 24 minutes when Astralis just took a really bad fight. They lost 4 people during that fight and lost Baron, so Mad Lions just got Baron, went bot lane, and just pushed and won the game. In the second game of the series, the Astralis won this just because Mad Lion just kept taking terrible team fights over and over and over again. The strongest member on Mad Lion's team is probably Karzion Draven, but in these team fights, like Karzi just keeps getting caught out of position and just dies before he can even do any damage. In the third series of this game, Mad Lions played very well. Anytime Astralis would make a play, Mad Lions would just match the play and just trade. Niski's Azir was actually very good. His ulti usage during team fights were so good, he just kept blocking choke points so Astralis couldn't follow up on any plays. Chase's Cassante was also very good this game. He pretty much just 1v5'd Astralis. In the second match of Group B of G2 versus BDS, I predicted G2 to win 2-1 versus BDS, and that did happen. In the first game of the series, draft was pretty weird. Adam picked Garen for a counter pick versus Jax. I don't know why he did that when his other champions like Darius or Olaf were up. Also, his Garen in this game did not look good at all. Yaxulia was very impactful this game. He got a lot of early ganks off, got the first Herald, first Dragon, and he landed a lot of good multi-man sleeps as well. In the second game in the series, BDS won. The drafting from G2 this game was kind of weird. Like, they just gave Adam an Adam champion, even though they've been doing that. And they gave Crowny Zeri again, even though he looked pretty good in the last game he got it on. But then, like, the R5 Silas doesn't make any sense because BDS's champions don't have really good ultimates to steal from. Also, BDS's team comp has a lot of disengage tools, so last picking Silas didn't really make much sense here. BDS makes a really good play for first blood by having Nuck just chunk out Caps, and then Sheo just goes for like a tower dive, but then Caps walks out of tower range, so Sheo just follows and gets first blood. And then G2 makes a really weird invade to get Sheo on his Raptors, but then just donate a double kill and just give so much gold to BDS early on in the game. 30 minutes into the game, Caps kind of is separated from his team, so he engages on Crowny and hopes his team can kill Crowny. But Crowny's so tanky with his items that he survives long enough for Adam just to clean up the fight, and the whole G2 team just gets aced and loses Baron from this play, and proceed to lose game 2. In game 3, honestly, BDS lost because of draft. If you look at BDS's team comp, it's not that bad, but the problem is that you don't have the players to play this team comp. Adam is probably not known for his Renekton, so I don't know why they picked Renekton for Adam. And then I don't know why they didn't R3, in the first 3 picks they didn't pick an AD for Crowny, so Crowny just gets 2 bans on him and then has to play a Caitlyn lane. I'm not saying Crowny's bad on Caitlyn, I'm just saying Crowny is way better on a hyper carry and Caitlyn is definitely not a hyper carry. Caps makes a very good early gank as level 3 Jace and just kind of tilts the bot lane of BDS. In the first Herald fight, G2 steal Baron from BDS and then kill 3 players, and honestly it was GG from there. In the winner side match of Group B, we had G2 versus Mad Lions, which I predicted, and I thought G2 would win 2-1, just because G2 has shown that they kind of fumble the bag sometimes during draft, but that wasn't the case, and they won 2-0. Honestly, this series was just draft diff. In the first game, instead of outright banning Lilia, they banned Jace to deter them from picking Lilia, since they don't want double AP mid jungle. But then they just picked Tristana, which is a really good pick anyways, so I don't know what Mad Lions was thinking. And then G2 last pick Olaf top, which is really good against Mad Lions' team comp, just because he can just press ulti and just run at the carries and they can do nothing to stop him. Zeri's ahead early in the game just because G2 botched a bot dive, but Hasama literally just gets 1 cash in and just closes the gold lead. And as you can see, as the game progresses, it's literally impossible for Mad Lions to team fight versus G2's team comp. And the second game of the series is also just draft diff. Instead of banning Draven, they banned Nautilus, assuming they wouldn't pick Draven, which is I don't know why. They just assume the only engaged support making excellent plays in Nautilus. Mad Lions also just make Jace go top versus Jax, even though Jace versus Jax is a bad matchup for Jace. And then Mad Lions picks Israel as ADC. And if you see this team comp, this is literally a low damage team comp. G2 respond with Cassidy and Soraka, and this is pretty much a GGWP. Once they level 16, they're impossible to kill, and with Soraka just healing them constantly, and this low damage team comp, there's no way Mad Lions would win, and they did it. And that's the end of the recap of week 1 of LEC Winter Group Stages. I got most of the matches right, I just got some of the scores wrong. The only match I got wrong is Vitality versus Koi, and since I got that match wrong, the loser's final match would look different, so it would be Vitality versus SK, and I still think Vitality would win just because the top side players are so much stronger, but who knows, Neonic Kaiser could just run it down. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out with the YouTube algorithm, and I'll see you next time.